demonstrate how powerful Jamaican Creole is, ladies and gentlemen. When you listen to a regular person speaking in a regular English, everything else changes when this person starts speaking in Jamaican Patwa, ladies and gentlemen. There is this one Ugandan lady that she's speaking in Lugisu. Actually, she's one of the very few Africans that I have seen who is actually speaking in actual African languages. Additionally, she's also speaking in Jamaican Patwa. That is very powerful, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm going to talk about something. I'm just going to talk something in Lugisu, and then I'm going to translate it and talk in Patois.
Yes, she's a superhuman. Imagine speaking Jamaican Patwa, speaking in African languages, and then speaking in standard English.
So first things first. Mulembe babantu n'abasimire kubona iyo yesu sengana hurumeni babantu wetele ano mushiburushino.
That's one of the most amazing and powerful things that a human being can have, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, let me now again demonstrate to you how Jamaican Patwa is very, very powerful, ladies and gentlemen.
So what I'm going to talk now in Patois, the exact same thing I said, so that you can know what I meant and what I said. So, people, first of all, I just want to give thanks. I really want to give thanks, for, watching the video and coming and tuning in, really, really grateful. I just want to say something about how important it is to mind your heart.
Yes, she's a superhuman. Imagine speaking Jamaican Patwa, speaking in African languages, and then speaking in standard English. That's one of the most amazing and powerful things that a human being can have, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, let me now again demonstrate to you how Jamaican Patwa is very, very powerful, ladies and gentlemen. You know that with Jamaican Patwa, anybody can create or make music with it, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, you don't have to be the best musician in the world, but if you can understand Jamaican Patwa, or if you can speak very well in Jamaican Patwa, you can mock up or create any music out of Jamaican Patwa, and it will still sound so nice. It will still sound so okay, ladies and gentlemen. Why? Because Jamaican Creole or Jamaican Patwa itself is lyrically, is binded lyrically, is rhythm. You create a rhythm. You can create a rhythm with very simple words using Jamaican Patwa, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, that's one thing that I've come to understand. That is why a lot of Jamaicans are musicians, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, that's why a lot of Jamaicans are artists. Okay, but before that, I'm going to show you one of these, like the way I've said, I'm going to show you one of these clips of a Ugandan lady who is speaking in Lugisu, and she's also speaking in Jamaican Creole, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, Jamaican Creole or Jamaican Patwa. Okay, and just like the way I've said, anybody who can learn and speak Jamaican Patwa, they can also create or make music, ladies and gentlemen. Big up Jamaica, Caribbean, big up Jamaica, Europe, big up Jamaica, African, big up Jamaica, Uganda, big up Jamaica, African, big up Jamaica, Jamaica food, everything Jamaica, Matatu, everything Jamaica. Ladies and gentlemen, just like that, you create a rhythm with Jamaican Patwa. Okay? Of course, from the videos you can tell, or you can see that Jamaican Creole is already uniting Jamaican people with the African people, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, if you are an African and you have extra more ideas of uniting Jamaicans with Africans, it's highly appreciated. But Jamaican Creole is already doing that job. Jamaican restaurants, they are already doing that job, ladies and gentlemen. Kenyan radio stations, they are already doing that job. Okay, so I don't think there's any other extra ideas other than these other ones that I have already mentioned that is evidently going to, unite Jamaicans with Africans, or that is going to reinforce Jamaican relationship with Africans other than, the ones that I have just mentioned. These ones are already doing those extra duties, ladies and gentlemen, and I am so much loving it. Okay, there's nothing really I love when I see Kenyan people speaking in Jamaican Patwa. Patwa. There's nothing I love to see than Ugandan people speaking in Jamaican Patwa. That is so amazing. That is so beautiful, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, it's one of the most amazing and beautiful things that I have seen on the internet today, ladies and gentlemen. And just like the way I've said, Jamaican Patwa is so nice. It is so lyrical to an extent that if you can't create or you can't make rhythm music, okay, you can if you only need to learn how to speak Jamaican Patwa and you are good to go. You can create music with just anything and it will sound and it will make sense, ladies and gentlemen. That's how powerful Jamaican Patwa is. And another thing that shows that the Jamaican Creole is so powerful, have you ever seen someone speaking in just regular English, standard English, okay, and then these persons switch up into Jamaican Patwa, especially when they are angry, ladies and gentlemen. It looks so amazing, it's like super. Of course, another thing that I've learned about Jamaican Patwa or have realized about Jamaican Patwa is how emotive and expressive it is, ladies and gentlemen. The intonation, the high and the low intonation in Jamaican Patwa, that is, it makes it looks even more beautiful, ladies and gentlemen. You can even just make a simple statement like, I'm glad to see you. Oh, me glad to see you, just simple words, ladies and gentlemen, can sound so simple words can sound so nice. Oh, this one is so beautiful. This one is so bad. This one is wicked. This one is wicked. Simple words, very very simple words, my friend, can make you. It looks so beautiful when you express it in Jamaican Patwa. This one is so wicked. This one is bad. This one is so wicked. That's why I said that lyrically Jamaican is music itself. Jamaican Creole is music itself, ladies and gentlemen. Big up Jamaica, Caribbean, big up Jamaica, Europe, big up Jamaica, America, big up Jamaica, Africa, big up Jamaica, Uganda, big up Jamaica. You see how you can just create music out of anything, ladies and gentlemen, and of course the words will still make sense. The intonation and everything, makes it look so nice, ladies and gentlemen. You also have the African roots, the influence of the African roots, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I know that Jamaican Patwa is also, somewhat a combination of, phrases from, different parts of the world, but predominantly most of the phrases are coiled from the African roots, ladies and gentlemen. Look, for instance, the word uno. The word uno is coiled from a Nigerian word. Is it a Nigerian word or a Ghanaian word, ladies and gentlemen? So there are a lot of phrases in Jamaican Patwa that you will also find in Nigerian pidgin or Ghanaian pidgin, ladies and gentlemen. So it's not very far. Jamaican Patwa is not stemming from very far with the African roots, ladies and gentlemen. Jamaican Patwa is slowly taking Jamaican back to the motherland, ladies and gentlemen. And you also have another one deeper, more deeper Jamaican Patwa, which is Jamaica Cromanti. Jamaican Cromanti is coiled or was coiled from the Akan people of the western region of Ghana, ladies and gentlemen. Jamaicans who speak Jamaican Cromanti, when you listen to them very well, you will hear some phrases from the Akan people of the western region of Ghana, ladies and gentlemen. So in a way, Jamaican Patwa is also connecting Jamaican people with the African ancestry, ladies and gentlemen. One of the most amazing people. So one of the most amazing things. So there is some atmosphere of familiarity, with Africans when Jamaicans speak in Jamaican Patwa, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. That's why I'm telling you, one of the most amazing things to exist among Jamaica is Jamaican Creole itself. It is Jamaican Patwa itself, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, whether you call it substandard English, it doesn't matter, ladies and gentlemen. It's one of the best things that has ever existed among the Jamaican people. Why? Because it is connecting the Jamaicans with a lot of Africans around the world, predominantly the Western Africans, ladies and gentlemen, because that's where a lot of Jamaicans came from. A lot of Jamaicans came from the Western Africa, that is either Ghana or Nigeria, ladies, or Sierra Leone. there is something that is called switching and flow, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to know how powerful Jamaican people are, watch Vibes Cartel or Adidja Palmer interviews done in the US, ladies and gentlemen. Adidja Palmer will speak in standard American English. Trust me. Yes, I have seen some of these interviews, done in the US on Adidja Palmer, ladies and gentlemen. This guy can speak in American English. In the next minute, they will switch up the accent and speak in Jamaican Patwa, ladies and gentlemen. Not everyone can do that. Not everyone has that kind of supernatural abilities. Of course, it just depends with where they are. If they are in places like, let's say, Canada, UK, Australia, where English is predominantly spoken, then they will switch up. They will switch up their accent and start speaking like those people, ladies and gentlemen. But 1 minute, if they are speaking to their fellow Jamaicans, they will change very fast, and that's one of the most amazing and beautiful things, ladies and gentlemen, to have ever existed. Not everyone has that kind of supernatural abilities. Now imagine for a Kenyan or a Ugandan who can speak Lugisu, Jamaican Patwa, and English at the same time, and all of them, they are speaking so nice, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, even some white people cannot do that. Even some white people cannot do that, ladies and gentlemen. That's a powerful person. That's a very intelligent person. Someone who can speak Lugisu, African languages, can speak Jamaican Patwa, can speak standard good English, ladies and gentlemen. That's a powerful person. That's an amazing person. I wish there was, and I will go to Jamaica one day. And trust me, in 1 year, I'll be speaking in Jamaican Patwa, and then I will become powerful. I'll become very, very powerful. I'll be speaking in Jamaican. I'll be just opening my videos and speaking flow Jamaican Patwa. I wish I could do that. Ladies and gentlemen. Chord switching and flow is one of the most amazing things that a lot of Jamaicans have, especially the Jamaicans in diaspora. They will make a video and they will speak like Americans. They will speak like an American. They will speak like an African American. Then the next minute they switch up Jamaican Patwa, like, what? You're Jamaican, You're Jamaican. Then we have playfulness and wittiness, ladies and gentlemen. Jamaican Patwa can turn sentences that might be an attack in an ordinary English, and it can turn it into witty and humor, ladies and gentlemen. For instance, there's one Jamaican I saw, he was calling another guy, yo ugly man, move away, you ugly man. If you call that man, you ugly man, move away. You see, it sounds so bad. When you use like standard English, you ugly man, it sounds so bad. But you say, you ugly man, move away. You see, that guy smiled, ladies and gentlemen. That's how witty and humorous sometimes Jamaican Patwa sounds. Me, I broke it, Me, I'm going to broke this thing. Me, I broke it, That's how it makes some simple words. It makes some simple words, look less harmful. I don't know why, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know why. Yes, of course, additionally, Jamaican Creole is not only uniting Jamaicans with Africans, but it's also uniting Jamaican people with the rest of the world, ladies and gentlemen. One of the things that is, actively or evidently uniting Jamaicans with Africans is Jamaican Creole. And there's one time I said that Jamaican Creole should also be lightly introduced into the African school curriculum, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, that is also another discussion for another day, ladies and gentlemen. But evidently, as you have seen from all these clips of Africans speaking in Jamaican Creole, you can actually say that indeed Jamaican Creole or Jamaican Patwa is uniting Africans with the Jamaican people, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, it's already doing that job. Of course, if you have any other extra ideas, if you are an African and you have any other extra ideas of uniting Jamaicans with African people, if you are an African and you have any other idea, it is null and void, because Jamaican Patwa is already doing that job. Jamaican restaurants is already doing that job, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, as we speak, Africans and Jamaicans, are almost going to be united. We have seen it in the internet. We have seen a lot of Jamaicans visiting Kenya, a lot of Jamaicans visiting Africa, ladies and gentlemen.